Paul, we're here in the beautiful Capstone Valley. Over here to the east in your constituency towards Hempstead, Wigwam, and over here to the west in my constituency we've got Luton, Lords of Walsley and Princess Park. This beautiful green lung here in Capstone Valley in the heart of the Medway towns. Now, 5 years ago, the landowners here said that they wanted to build houses on it. What was that? It was stopped. Why are they coming back? Why are they asking again?
Because like they've done in other places where I can think in Gillingham and Rainham, Riverside area, plots of land that they've held for decades and just keep trying and trying to get approval, to weaken the council, to weaken government, to keep pushing. And you and I know that a lot of housing is needed. I mean, we have people coming to us, whether it's to get onto the housing ladder in the private sector or more social housing, affordable housing. We know we need to provide it, and we need to be able to help those youngsters and older people who want to be able to do that. But we do that elsewhere. We do that on most brownfield sites. And my fear is what's happening here is that you've got a group of landowners together with other interested parties that have been around in the Medway towns for many, many decades who are just trying to exploit a situation which you and I, as responsible politicians, as part of government, have to deal with.
Well, I think that's right. But they've been told no before, and we hope that they'll be told no again, and it's certainly something that we're both campaigning on. But I think that it's reasonable for people to ask is, how is it that they're allowed to do that?
Well, part of our process is, nothing stands still, does it? You think back 10 years ago when we became members of Parliament, the demands of our constituents were different then to what they are now, and so life moves on. It seems to move on at a faster and faster pace. And of course, we've Gordon Brown as Chancellor presided over a very buoyant economy. More jobs, more opportunities here, more people are living in this area, and we need to keep reviewing those programmes and those plans. We need to do it through a democratic process, which of course has been set up to allow people to have their say.
Well, we've identified land in the Medway towns, haven't we? There's former MOD brownfield land on the Hook Peninsula. There's also the Rochester Riverside that will take place. I know that Medway Council think that that's more than ample to provide for future needs in terms of housing.
Well, you and I, didn't we? I mean, we had discussions with Des Brown as Secretary of State for Defence, and then Ruth Kelly, who was at Communities and Local Government, to actually get the final agreement on Chatterdine and those brownfield sites that were becoming available. But one of the things I think people say to me now, and I don't know what you say. I mean, Gordon obviously now as Prime Minister has been saying about we do need more houses. You and I know that, but we need them in the right place and at the right time. Well, how do we answer that?
Well, I think that we need to strike a balance. We need to strike a balance between protecting the countryside and providing homes for people. And can we do both two things? Absolutely. And one of my responsibilities is areas of outstanding natural beauty. I have that responsibility within government, and absolutely determined that we keep our green lungs. It's very, very important for us in Medway and elsewhere throughout the southeast.
You're absolutely right there, and I think I just see this as a real jewel in the environmental crown for us here in Medway, because we are fairly well built up in terms of in the immediate urban area, and this separates our two constituencies, which have got big built up areas, and people want to feel that they have that opportunity to be able to come out here and be able to exercise their dogs or themselves or whatever, just get out and away from the built environment. But in terms of getting that balance right, putting brownfield first, it is essential that we do that. What annoys me most of all is when we find one thing being said in one place about meeting the needs of young people, housing lists and so on, and yet when it comes to reality, they're not being willing to look at how you actually deliver that objective and say all things to all people. You can't do that. You have to balance this.
Well, people are living longer, which is a great thing, and people are choosing to buy accommodation on their own, but it is becoming beyond the reach of many people. Medway still has relatively lower housing costs compared to that of elsewhere in the county, something like Sevenoaks, for example. But unless we do keep up with that housing need, then prices will become even more beyond the reach of our constituents.
Absolutely. I mean, you say, we're relatively cheap, but the housing officers in the southeast recently, I hosted a reception for them at the House of Commons, and they were saying that even in the Medway towns, you have to have 7 times the average income to afford the average price of the house. Now, that is getting beyond the reach of many of our constituents. So we have to have that balance. We have to get that right. And one of the things we can't afford to do, though, is to ignore the brownfield sites that do exist in abundance here within Midway towns, within the Thames Gateway as a whole, and take places like this.
Absolutely.